Well, good morning, folks, and welcome back to the farm. I'm down here in the forest today. We're bushwhacking again, moving this electric netting. Yesterday was chicken processing day, and that was, holy man, I tell you, by afternoon I was done. Like, body was tapping out. Today, the old left knee, it's it's feeling its age, and it just hasn't aged well. It's aged like milk and not like cheese or wine or anything like that. So that's a little bit swole up. So bushwhacking today, I got to take it a little bit slower. The wife was down here with the girls earlier, but yeah, they time out pretty quick anyway. So Finn's gone down for a nap. Charlotte's gone up. I think she's going to have a snack. And then when I finish stringing this wire, Carmen's going to run to town and grab a couple things for her weekly meal planning. So what was a thing of beauty is, so you can't see it over there, there's just a glint of orange in the distance over there, was I got to try the brush cutter, the big giant weed whacker with the circular saw blade on it. So I did go to Northern Metallic. I bought a new blade, one that actually fit this time. And I come through here and it was just, I just blazed a trail. There's just a path of destruction that leads through the forest. That combined with the chainsaw, you can see a couple of the trees here. I've just been just clear cutting a path through. And what was interesting, so when I fired up that saw the other night, I come through, I worked for maybe 10-15 minutes, something like that, and the nuts that hold the bar on, they just vibrated loose, and I blew the chain right off. And anyways, I lost one nut completely. It's probably somewhere out here in the bush, never to be found again. Anyways, I went to Northern Metallic and I said, you know, do you think you'd run me warranty on a 50-cent nut? And so I explained the situation. I ran it for 10 minutes, just first thing out of the box. They assembled the saw for me at Northern Metallic and did running checks and everything. And so technically, I mean, it was improper assembly. But she comes back out and she's like, she just slides it across the desk and she's like, yeah, you can have that. It fell apart, you know, no big deal. And we've got a box of 300 in them in the back, and they fall off all the time. And I was like, well, that doesn't seem right that they fall off all the time. Maybe that's something that somebody should look into. But anyways, got the free nut, and saws are all back assembled now. And it didn't skip a beat today, just chewed through the wood, fantastic. So for all intents and purposes, all the orange stuff is working great. I'm actually not sure how many more days I can squeak out of this bush here, because I'm going to run 400-foot lengths of netting here today, and technically that electric fencer is really only good for 3. And it was a really wet, dewy morning this morning, and at the far end, kind of by the corrals, you could stick your tongue out on there and it wouldn't do anything. It wouldn't even give you a buzz, because of course it's touching wet grass all the way along and grounding out. So not super effective. But everybody was in, everybody was contained. But anyway, so now I'm going to add another 100 feet to the 300 that was already out there to have a total of 400, and really going to stretch the capability of the Energizer. Of course, the other side of that too is that early in the mornings now, just before the sun comes up, where the temperature is plummeting, and I think we've had one frost. Nothing showed up on the weather station, but I did have a bit of crispy stuff in the back of my truck the one morning. But so it's just a matter of time before we wake up one morning, we have a killing frost, and what's left of this green stuff turns to gray stuff and brown stuff, and you know, then we're, you know, really the clock is ticking per se. So I'm actually hoping that my ear tags show up and I can get these lambs up to the barn, get them all tagged, and get Doug from I think it's Beaver Hill Auctions, come up here and get them on a trailer and get them out the door, because this grass business is tick tock, right? Anyways, I'm glad we've been able to get the sheep in here and thin some of this stuff out. I mean, this is all new stuff, but you can see the level of underbrush that's in here. So the sheep have made that now accessible, and I can come in with the saw and clean some of this stuff up, which is going to be fantastic, because the intent here is to come in with a big saw and actually selectively log some of these bigger trees that are maybe towards their end of their life, and allow a little bit more sunlight to come in, so we get some dappled shade. I think that's what they call that, dappled shade for a silvo pasture, so that essentially the grass can grow really well, but the trees still provide shade. They provide some cover. They provide a small bit of a windbreak. These have never really provided much of a windbreak. I mean, you can tell it's a breezy day today. You're probably getting some feedback. But nevertheless, I want that green stuff to come in so that if I'm going to invest $1,000 and bring in some extra page wire and come all the way around here, I'm going to get an equal value in terms of grass, in terms of feed for the animals, that I can realize back at the auction mart in future years. But if I'm just going to spend a whole pile of money on fence and they're going to come in here for 2 weeks and it's going to be decimated, well, then that's not very good either, right? That the economics on that don't really work out.